Good midsummer, everyone, and welcome to Matrix Live Season 4, Episode 1.
We decided that actually last episode should have been season 4, given we'd done, it turned out, 24 episodes of season 3 for some very questionable value of we, given it's all Ben these days. But we decided where is Ben? He's not even here, is he?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, he is. Okay, well,
Desk, change desk.
yeah, he's sitting in the corner, and so we're just hijacking Matrix Live and doing it old school. Also fit for a new beginning. But it would have made sense to have started season 4 after we shipped Matrix 1.0.
Yeah,
right?
that would have been obvious. We're just cranks.
Yeah, just a week late. Sorry about that. So yeah, it's me and Amandine for old time's sake, and we thought we'd just talk about what's going on in Matrix, a bit like we used to.
Talking about shipping.
Oh yeah.
Because that's what it is all about these days. Now that Matrix 1.0 is out, we can ship all the rest of the things which were stuck behind it.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit annoying. The progress on Matrix comes in a slightly clumpy manner, and certainly a lot of non-visible things shipped in 1.0 because it was all about polish and stability and all that sort of thing. And meanwhile, we had all sorts of much nicer things on the. Oops, it seems that my laptop can no longer do complicated things like recording video without crashing. What were we saying? It was things can be clumpy, but we've got new stuff on the horizon that we couldn't ship during 1.0, but we've gone and in our old age seem to have too many post-its hanging around everywhere. So can we show you our post-its?
Yes, I'm pretty sure everyone wants to see our post-its.
Look at our new post-its, everyone. Tell us about the post-its, Amandine.
So that's the ship it wall. As we have like 5 walls in this
room.
room.
People know about the back end roadmap ones and the web roadmap ones over there because I saw me and Neil and me and Tom
talking about it.
We've got the iOS one, which actually sits over here. Let's go look at this one briefly, which I don't think we've ever actually spoken people through.
You need to host Manu.
Yeah, so next time Manu's over, we should definitely talk it through. But there's probably no particular exciting ones there. And there's the paying customer thing, which we've probably glossed past. We're in Matrix Land rather than New Vector Land today.
And this is the ship it wall. Ship it wall. So what does it have in terms of new stuff you know very well? Riotex, we're getting there. Should be getting an alpha out in the stores in hopefully next week, maybe next 2 weeks. You can already play with it in case you missed it. It's available on Jenkins, but not Jenkins. We changed, right? How is it called now?
Definitely not Jenkins. You can get it off Buildkite.
Yeah, Buildkite. So you can get it. It's looking amazing. We really recommend you start playing with it. It even does encryption and reactions and everything. So it's really cool. It has the new design.
It launches 6 times faster than Android, and hopefully even more than that. We want to make it instant.
Yeah.
Which I think is just a matter of showing the cache messages immediately rather than waiting until the sync is completed before you let people into the app. I don't really know why we don't do that already.
God knows the history of Riot Android legacy is quite long.
Riot X we can do it right, and so I think we probably still have more scope for speed ups there.
And it has the new design which is starting to be implemented. Then extremities.
Oh, can I talk about extremities?
Of course you can.
I have no idea what you're laughing about. So on extremities, which are basically fragmentation caused by versions of a room which go and fragment due to outages, basically. If you have people in different networks, on different servers who are trying to go and send messages to one another, and the servers lose connectivity because they crash or the network's overloaded or whatever, then you end up with the room graph getting really fragmented, and this can cause lots of bad performance, which has been a problem for like years, since day one, basically. Finally, we've got 2 possible ways to mitigate this. It doesn't solve it entirely, one of which is to inject dummy events into a room so that as the extremities build up, you basically pretend that you're sending traffic, which is all you have to do to heal the extremities. And Eric implemented that last week, or this week even, and it looks like it might be working. A bunch of people, myself, Eric, and a few others have started running it on develop with the new config option, and it seems to work. There's another one where we can do clever things to try to automatically prune extremities which aren't significant, but that one's a lot harder, and we're hoping we can get away with it. So this one is basically, hopefully, might be done.
Nice. Then we have aggregations, which looks like, well, the visible side for the end user is edits and reactions, and it's coming together nicely. I think there is one thing pending on the backend side, and then the apps to actually land properly the feature.
Yeah, the biggest problem is that the backend MSC that myself and Eric did isn't quite up to it. So all of the implementations at the moment aren't actually, ironically, using aggregations calculated server side. It's all done client side. So we need to revise that, and I'm totally blanking on what the thinker was on it, but there's basically some misdesign in the API that doesn't quite give you the aggregation data that you need. It should be simple enough to fix. We just haven't got to it. Error prioritized extremities, but we will be doing it early next week.
Next one, small hosted home servers. Don't tell anyone, it's coming soon.
Very soon. I spun mine up about 10 minutes ago.
Yes.
And it worked.
We've been playing with it today. It's really fun.
Cool. So at last, if you've got like, what are we doing? Is it like 5 accounts, or have
something
we decided?
I guess we haven't. Still testing.
Hypothetically, something like 5 user servers
5
as
to 7.
opposed to 50 user servers, so 10 times smaller than the smallest ones that Modular provides today. Obviously, this is a new vector service rather than anything to do with matrix.org, so pretend that you didn't hear us talking about it on the Matrix this week in Matrix or Matrix Live, or however you call this. But it's still cool that it's coming.
Cross-signing.
Hubert got it all working.
Yeah.
Lots of demos in last week's TWIM. Hubert is celebrated by going on holiday for a week, but as of next week, hopefully we'll go and start wiring it into Riot itself. But all of the hard, heavy lifting is there at last.
That was quite a long one, yeah. But it's coming together. End-to-end search. This one is pretty exciting as well.
Yeah, and again, this works. I now have my personal account indexed by Pantalaimon for end-to-end search, and I can log into it with Riot, or I can point my normal Riot at it, and I have, I don't know how many messages I actually have. I think it was up at around 200,000 messages that it's gone indexed in my various end-to-end rooms, and it basically does what it says on the tin. Polyara has done well.
So basically it needs all the client implementation, make it easy to use from a Riot user's perspective.
I mean, this is the tricky thing of how you actually get people using it, because we've implemented it, or Polyara has implemented it in Pantalaimon, so that if you're smart enough to run a Python daemon to index your rooms, it works great, and you then log into it, or you point your search API at it, and it works. That's obviously useless for anybody casually using Riot Web or Riot iOS or Android. What we could do is to just bundle it with Riot Desktop as Pantalaimon, and I think that might be quite a cheeky, quick way to get up and running. It's a bit crap because you end up doubling the network usage in that you would have the actual client talking to your server, and then you also have a sidecar Pantalaimon doing the same talking to the server, which would be a bit inefficient. What else? The idea, though, is that instead we can rip out the Tantav stuff, which is using Rust's full-text search engine, Tantav, for which Polyara went and did the official Python bindings, which Upstream have, I think, merged or incorporated or something, which is pretty nice.
Sure,
so there's a whole bunch of copyright matrix.org Foundation code now in the Tantav library, much to their surprise, perhaps. Either way, the Tantav code can be ripped out and possibly compiled to WASM and then put into Riot Web directly, or indeed linked directly against Riot iOS or Android as native Rust code, possibly. Let's see how it goes. But at least we've got the thing working enough to test it and use Pantalaimon as a jet test string, which is why it exists. It's really hot in here.
Yes. It's
almost as if it's midsummer and our meeting room has no air conditioning in it.
And almost if England had eventually decided to get into summer, but because it's hot in the meeting room, it's like 20 degrees outside, so don't get excited too much.
Probably you're being mean about English weather. It's unheard of.
And eventually, privacy, bunch of work was highlighted, which needed to be done, so we're working on that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of embarrassing things which probably should have been done back in May of last year when we did all of our GDPR stuff, and it's basically the stuff that fell through the cracks there. But we've taken the opportunity to prioritize fixing it off so that anybody who is worried about privacy can be less worried about it and see that we do actually take it seriously. What else?
So something we were thinking about is that we don't think we have shared our like basically we have objectives set up and we're trying to reach at 6 months and 1 year and 18 months when we started, but not level scale. 18 month scale,
yeah, an 18-month scale.
And we thought that might be useful to just show where we were at, because
if anybody is interested in this goldfish bowl / sauna meeting room, there is always this whiteboard here. I can't believe we're being so horribly managery, and I feel out of my depth. In our defence, this was written by Neil, who actually is a professional manager rather than whatever we are. But thought it might be interesting to just highlight basically the long-term plan that we have literally up on the wall here for both Matrix and New Vector. We have basically a line for New Vector and we have a line for Matrix. And then also the 18-month plan back from when we started. When
we got funding early last year.
Yeah, basically. So we got the funding from Status in January last year. Here we are in June 2019. Let me go and put the laptop somewhere where I don't have to hold it. I wonder if people are going to be able to read the things.
We can read them.
Yeah, we'll figure it out somehow.
Yeah.
So yes, back in. So here we are. This was basically what we wrote. I mean, this blue ink is 18 months old. Back in January. Yeah, that's why it no longer comes up. Back in January of last year to try to work out what we wanted to do 18 months from then. And that's basically the point where we're at now. Should we talk through it from the top in case anybody cares?
If you like, okay.
I mean, so overall, do you want to explain the New Vector bits and I can explain the Matrix Foundation bits?
Yeah, I can go very quickly on the New Vector side. The idea is really that it exists to build and sell services and apps built on top of Matrix, and the KPI is profits more than zero.
Well, so the critical word is sustainability, that we're trying to get sustainable growth in there in terms of being able to pay for the team via these services like the modular home servers and sticker backs and whatever other services might get sold. Also consulting and support work on New Vector in order to basically bring in money to keep the lights literally on and to keep the core team employed to work on Matrix.
Yeah.
And then on the Matrix side, the overall mission, well, we've spelled out the overall mission in the foundation governance documents in excruciating detail, but if you collapse it to a simple line, it's basically saying that you maximize long-term adoption of Matrix, full stop. And there are lots of corollaries on that, like doing it in an unfragmented way, doing it in a public federated network. The number that we pick for this is what we call R30 users, which are the number of users which we can see through phone home stats or matrix.org stats who have been using Matrix for at least 30 days in a row. So it's not a fly-by-night, saw it on Hacker News, clicked in, felt disgusted and ran away. It's people who have actually properly been using it for over a month. And we don't have a figure actually on what the overall goal would be here because, you know, the sky's the limit. Yep. Population of the human species, I guess.
Every smartphone on Earth should have a Matrix app.
Well, this is fun. If the thing literally can't record more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes of video without crashing. So you were saying population of the human species.
And every smartphone on Earth.
Yeah.
And we were saying that the current number is 75,000 retained, 30 days retained users.
But that's a massive underestimate because we don't see any of the servers which don't phone home, and we don't see any of the private deployments out there which aren't federated with a public network. So we deliberately picked the sort of smallest number we can find there to try to keep ourselves honest.
So basically, in terms of more concrete numbers, the objectives for June this year, end of June this year, were sustainability to support Envy with a positive profit, which we haven't reached.
I mean, this one is interesting because, I mean, a lot of that is because almost all of the work has been going into Matrix 1.0 rather than, say, modular stuff. And small hosted home servers are a classic example of something that everybody is screaming for. We've literally got thousands of people, multiple thousands of people lined up wanting to get small hosted home servers for themselves, and we haven't been able to prioritize it relative to getting Matrix 1.0 out the door. So hopefully putting that out, we're going to see more funding coming in for the project via that. But yeah, it's worth noting that we're not profitable on that side of things. And if people are interested in large donations or investment into New Vector, then please get in touch with us at funding@matrix.org, because it will be very useful to buy a small time to actually get more people onto modular and using paid services there.
Also, we still want to work on the reputation side of things, and that would be grants to the foundation itself would be amazing in order to actually set up a team which can actually implement some level of reputation management.
We did have a hilarious meeting about this the other day, which where we were explaining that there's all sorts of content out there in Matrix today, and the majority of it is great and fine, but there's also some pretty nasty illegal stuff going on, and we want to empower users to be able to filter out the stuff they don't want to see. So if you want to see porn on Matrix, you should be able to turn up the porn dial, and if you don't want to see porn on Matrix, you should be able to dial down the porn dial, or whatever it might happen to be. And we were explaining this to a more philanthropic based source of funding, and the punchline of the meeting was saying basically, but hang on a second, you're saying you've got bad stuff on your network and you want us to give you money? We don't want to be associated with bad stuff. I'm saying, we came to you to ask for funding to help us improve the problem of managing bad content on the internet in general, but including Matrix, for whatever your subjective definition of bad might happen to be. Anyway, that was amusing. So basically, if you're interested in funding us to go after that and make Matrix a higher signal to noise ratio place and help people find the stuff they want to find on their terms rather than it being dictated by us or anybody else, then please get in touch.
So the other items were getting Matrix out of beta.
Yes,
Yay!
green.
Done.
Matrix.org Foundation existing. Does it exist? Yes, green. And then increasing Matrix adoption. We set a target of 120k for June, which hilariously, had it not been for the security breach in April, we might be on track for. Like, if you look at the curve shape that we were heading into in April, it was definitely looking plausible. Then on April, it basically goes flat due to the impact of the security breach, and then it's continued at the same rate after that point. So, which is why we're now up at the 75, 80-ish figure. But still got, if we manage to get from 80 to 120 in the next week, that would be impressive, especially given the thing that would change that would be if we ship the, I don't know, RiotX or aggregations or any of the things up there. But given all of that's going to be landing at the end of June, it looks as if we might miss that a bit, which is a shame, but it's our own stupid fault for the impact of the security breach. But I reckon we'll be heading there shortly afterwards. So there you go.
It was a bit of a random one.
Yeah, I hope that somebody
let's
found
start
that
a new season.
Welcome to a view of the slightly more grown-up brain that we have to use sometimes when trying to ensure that the project's on the right track. And yeah, I should go to the butcher and buy stuff for a barbecue because it's midsummer and I think we should have a barbecue.
For once, it's not raining, so yay, let's.
Anything else we should be saying?
I
Thank you for sticking with Matrix, despite the various bumps in the road. Hope that everybody agrees that it's getting better, and we'll continue to try to make it as good as we possibly can.
Yeah, thank you for supporting us, and all the things that are being built on the project. It's always nice to see and see the support. Have a good weekend. Have a good midsummer.
Yeah, have a good rest of your year. Obviously, it's all downhill with increasing darkness, at least for those in the Northern Hemisphere.
So this is the yearly. Oh no, my God! Midsummer. It means darkness is coming back.
Yeah, precisely. Bye-bye, sun. It was nice knowing you. It's not like we even saw it in the first place. Anyway, let's escape. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.